Hi, I'm Dr. Aimie. Do you know someone or are you in a relationship with someone who grew up in an alcoholic home where one or both parents were alcoholics? I recently met somebody, and as I was sharing what line of work I do in the addiction field, they felt like they could share that their father was an alcoholic. And knowing this information about them, I already could know a lot about them, know a lot of what their reactions would be to certain situations, to certain things that I would say. I would know, I could predict a lot of the dynamics of our relationship, our friendship, just by knowing this information that they had a father who was alcoholic. So if you are in a relationship with someone or know of someone who had this kind of experience and environment growing up, you can know things about them that they may not even know themselves and thus be able to tell you. So what are those things that you should know? And these are generalizations. There are always exceptions, but in general, children who grew up in an environment where one or both parents were alcoholics, they tend to be people pleasers. So what does that mean? That means that when I ask my friend what they want to do, their general response is going to be what they want to do is whatever I want to do. Asking them their honest opinion about something, I know that they may not tell me the truth, the full truth, because they're weighing how it's going to affect me or how they think it's going to affect me. If they feel like it might hurt me, if they feel like it might be something that I don't want to hear or it might make me angry, those are situations in which they're going to not be able to tell me the full truth of what they really think about the situation or something or me. And so I need to keep this in mind, and I need to know that in which situations I may not get the full truth from them, and that's okay. Right? Like knowing that ahead of time, I know to either not even ask or whatever they tell me to take that into the bigger context of they may not feel safe enough to tell me how they really think because they're afraid that I'm going to get angry, that I'm going to get depressed, that I'm going to lash out, that I'm going to then create chaos and drama. And so knowing this ahead of time, knowing just that they are a child who grew up in an environment where a parent was an alcoholic, you can know these things about them that can go a long ways in creating the relationship that is stable, calm, mutually supporting, because you know these things and these traits that the children develop because of it. Anger is going to be a really hard emotion for them to feel. And that's also kind of where they tend to become the people pleasers. And they're not in tune with their anger. So they've got anger deep down inside, especially for all that they had to go through and all that they had to kind of put aside for themselves growing up. And all of the attention had to be around the parent who was the alcoholic and making sure that they were okay, that they weren't drinking too much or trying to prevent them from drinking. And then all those feelings of no matter how hard I try, they still always choose the alcohol over me. And so there's a lot of self-sacrifice that these children have to do. And then this is naturally going to cause anger. But anger is not something that they can share and express as a child in those situations because it would make the alcoholic worse. And so they stuff it inside. They become the people pleasers, the smile on their face, they're always happy, and they really don't know how to express anger. And angry people tend to really stress them out. And so they would do everything they can to keep people happy and out of the anger. And so because of this, they also are going to have health problems. Hidden anger, suppressed anger, whatever you want to call it, is one of the biggest factors for causing chronic diseases. And so whether they already have stuff showing up in their health or it's still brewing and building and it's going to show up later, but they are going to have some health problems because of this early childhood environment, which created these dynamics, and that's how it expresses itself with long-term problems in the immune system, long-term problems with the nervous system. And so knowing that ahead of time, they generally are going to have health problems that they may not even connect to their emotions, and especially even less are they going to connect it to their anger, since they usually are not even aware of the anger that they have from their childhood. So these are some of the common traits, and there's many more. And I think that if you are in a relationship, or if you do know somebody who is a child who grew up in that type of environment, knowing this stuff can be really helpful. And so there's lots of information, there's lots of books. One of my favorite resources is this author. She wrote Struggle for Intimacy, but then she also wrote Adult Children of Alcoholics, and goes over those traits, and especially as they relate to their interpersonal skills, that can be really helpful. They're very lovable, loyal people, and they will have their attachment insecurities, most commonly the anxious attachment, where they will be very doting in order to not lose you. And so knowing that sometimes they can also be a little on the clingy side because of their anxious, insecure attachment, can go a long way in helping the relationship and that communication, and then being able to openly talk about this stuff since you're aware of it. So I hope this has been helpful, and I'd love to hear your comments and your shares as well.